The Toucan and the Search for the Magical Fruit. Once upon a time, in a faraway land there lived a little toucan called John. John was a very curious little bird who was always looking for something new and exciting. He loved to explore and especially loved to explore the lush jungles of his homeland. One day John decided that he would go on an adventure. He packed his little bag with his favorite fruits and set off through the jungle towards the great mountain in the distance. As he was walking along, he heard a strange noise coming from the nearby bushes. When he went to investigate, he found a talking parrot, who introduced himself as George. The parrot told John the story of an ancient legend about a magical fruit far away in the distant mountains. He said that this magical fruit could grant anyone who ate it wishes of great power and fortune. Seeing as John was always up for an adventure and was never one to turn down a challenge, he said goodbye to George and set off on his quest to find the magical fruit. The journey was long and tiring, but eventually, John and his new companion, George, reached the foot of the great mountain. With nothing but the stars in the sky and the occasional sounds of birds in the trees, they started to climb. As they reached the peak of the mountain, a beautiful and mysterious cave appeared in the distance. John was entranced by the sight and decided to investigate the cave. But as he stepped through the entrance, he was met by an intimidating creature with big, beady eyes. He introduced himself as the Grand Wizard, who guarded the magical fruit, warning John that he must prove himself before he could claim it. With no other option, John and George began a series of challenges, which the wizard had created to test John's courage, strength and intelligence. With each challenge, the wizard got harder, and the tasks began to seem almost impossible. John was getting tired and was afraid he would never reach the magical fruit, but then he came up with an idea. He decided to use George, the parrot, to help him. The parrot was very smart and was able to solve the puzzles and challenges the wizard pitted them against. Eventually, John and George were able to complete all of the challenges, and the Grand Wizard granted them access to the magical fruit. With excitement blooming in his chest, John grabbed the magical fruit, and as soon as he touched it, an incredible power surged through his body and he knew he was granted 3 wishes. John thought very hard about what he wanted and eventually decided on 3 things. First, he wished for his beloved toucan family to have a happy life. Secondly, he wished for his homeland to have endless supplies of food, and thirdly, he wished for peace and harmony for the entire world. The Grand Wizard was pleased with John's wishes and granted him the magical fruit. After thanking the wizard profusely, John and George set off back on their journey. As they reached home, the sky lit up with a rainbow of colors, celebrating the success of John's adventure. The magical fruit granted all of John's wishes, making his land a prosperous and peaceful place, and giving John and George the legend that they had gone on an adventure of a lifetime to the great mountain in search of the magical fruit. The Toucan and the Search for the Magical Fruit has been known as a favorite among many children, who find the story both fun and heartwarming. Our little toucan and his talking parrot have become household names, bringing joy and laughter to people everywhere. As the story comes to an end, John and George remind us that no challenge is too big if you believe in yourself and your friends, and that anything is possible if you just believe. The end.